Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Z. I'm a clinical psychologist specializing in transgender care. Welcome to my channel. So today I want to talk about what I call transgender police and trans policing. And what do I mean by that? Well, I see a lot of people on social media, especially on Facebook, that like to chime in when somebody tends to post something about their personal life and point out, make it a point, especially go out of the way to point out that that person is not trans enough. Now, this concept of trans enough and what is trans enough has been floating around for a while, and it's very predominant and to a lot of people very important concept in trans community. So what is trans enough? Let me be very super clear as somebody who's specializing in gender dysphoria as a clinical psychologist, that there is no such thing as trans enough. It doesn't exist. And the reason why it doesn't exist is because we're talking about subjective sense of identity. That's right, we're talking about your sense of who you are and how you see yourself. You can't, there's no way you can take somebody and nitpick them because they may be not undergoing some certain aspect of transition. You can't say that somebody's not trans enough because they're deciding not to have facial feminization or facial masculization. You also can't say somebody's not trans enough because their gender dysphoria symptoms are mild versus very severe. Or if they're comfortable with their genitals and you're not comfortable with your genitals. Do you see? It's a subjective sense of how we feel about ourselves. Everybody's going to be very different. What makes somebody identify as a transgender person is when you feel an incongruency, and remember, incongruency is very broad and very subjective. It's not set in stone. It's not written down what exactly it is you should be feeling incongruent about other than your body. Not just particular body part, but your overall body. So really, being transgender or being identified as a trans person is somebody who feels immense incongruency between their biological sex and their desired gender. But that doesn't mean you have to go through all of the surgeries on a list. It doesn't mean you have to be on the hormones. It doesn't mean you have to dress particular way or get voice therapy training or act particular way. There's no such thing. I'm sorry, I gotta say all of that is it's complete bullshit. That's what it is. And so when I see other people come up and start policing other people, especially trans people within the same trans community, they're just really, really ridiculous and completely unfair. Because what's to one person is completely different to somebody else. And I've seen it all. I've seen people who will go get every single surgery out there on a menu. And I've seen some who won't. I've seen people who can't even get on hormones because of medical conditions. Does that mean they're not trans enough because they can't be on hormones? Of course not. They're just being very ridiculous. That just means that their transition is being put on hold due to her health issues. So I think we really have to exercise a lot of compassion when we talk to one another because everybody's experience is going to be drastically different. There is no such thing as trans enough. Now I get it, there's some people who identify as trans-binary, meaning they strictly want to go from one binary into another binary. And for those individuals, and in the past and still today in a lot of clinical literature, those individuals used to be going by terminology called transsexual, meaning you're really changing from one gender into another. And I get it that those individuals, because their goal is to go from one binary into another, for them it's very frustrating when they see other people in their community who identify as transgender, but who feel very comfortable not going through the whole process. But that's different. Getting frustrated that the terminology today is so expandable and covers everybody, and including yourself, who identifies as trans-binary, is very frustrating. Yes, it is. But it doesn't mean those people are not trans enough. So just to be super clear, there is no such thing as trans enough. It doesn't exist. There's just you, there's just how you relate to your gender, and there's what you personally decide to do about your gender. And if you want to have breast augmentation but not have bottom surgery, or if you want to have facial surgery but not have breast augmentation, you go and you do that. You do whatever will alleviate and decrease your gender dysphoria. Transition, the goal of transition, the medical necessity of transition is to alleviate dysphoria. And if that's going to help you alleviate it, decrease it, take it down, make it so you can actually live and enjoy your life, then do it. And if you feel like you need to go through the whole scope of everything, then do it as well. But stop policing other people, because that's not how things are, and that's not how things work. And they just, in a way, I think, indicates some level of ignorance on your part of not really knowing how vast and diverse transition really is. Now, I will do another video where I'll talk about transbinary and this idea of being clustered under transgender umbrella, because that's another thing in of itself. But today I'm just talking about this idea of trans enough or not being trans enough, okay? So comment below, let me know, how do you feel about that? Have you yourself been policed by somebody else telling you that you're not trans enough because you're doing A, B, C, or D, or you're doing D, E, and F wrong? Or have you yourself policed somebody else, and why do you do that? What makes you feel like there is such thing as trans enough? Where have you seen it? Is there somewhere? Please let me know. I would love to get a copy of what a transgender is, full manual. But right now we just don't have one. We just have individuals with their diverse, completely different, beautiful experiences, and that's what makes everybody who they are. And I think that's really important to remember here. And I'll talk to you all next time. Bye.